the director of Ferdinand, Carlos Saldanha. Well, thank you both very much for being here. I know you're doing your kind of whirlwind tour at the moment, promoting Ferdinand, and it's great to have you here. Ferdinand is both a very famous book, and it's also, it was a short film made many, many years ago. It's a big difference though from a very short book or a very short film to make it into a big feature. And how did you go about tackling that?
Started with the book, even though the book is very short, very small. I think the message is very big. You know, there's a great message about, you know, being true to who you are. You know, like the non-violence. You know, about being, you know, what you are on the outside doesn't really mean who you really are on the inside, and that's what really matters. So doing that, I was able to really look into that theme and try to create the movie that kept that idea, but also expanded with more characters, more fun, and all that. But as long as I stayed true to that theme, you know, that was okay.
And John, how did you feel when they approached and said, "John, we want you to play a bull"? How did you feel about that? How did you reach your inner bull?
It was a great honor to be chosen as Ferdinand. The book's been in publication for 80 years, and even the short film was highly acclaimed. So making it into a universe, and certainly with Blue Sky behind it, it was an absolute honor to be chosen.
And how does it work? Do you go in and record your voice on its own, or do you go back several times? Are you with other cast members? How does that work?
It's pretty much just me and him, and it gets weird. No, it's a lot. It does get weird. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a testament to Carlos and everybody who has at Blue Sky, because to assemble such an ensemble cast, you have to work around everyone's schedule, which means usually you are just kind of alone with Carlos and his animators, and it's a brilliant process because you get to see how imaginative they are and how creative they are, because they see the universe in their head. It's difficult sometimes for me to see it, but I had so much faith in Carlos, and he took such great care of me. It's a fun process. I mean, it's a very active process. It's not as passive as people think, but it was a very, very fun process. And to see the end product, you guys are going to love it.
And as you are going through the kind of the stages of making the film, and you're seeing how the character is developing, are there times where you are starting to say, actually, I don't think Ferdinand would do that, or adding bits of your own, or was it very scripted?
Not one bit. It was a wonderful story. The universe is spectacular, and I didn't have any moments where I retreated back to my trailer in defiance that Ferdinand would never do such a thing.
I would never upset John, just for the record.
No, it was very, very smooth, very good process.
And I don't mean this to sound the wrong way, Carlos, but there are, when you look at Ferdinand and the movements of his mouth and stuff, I mean, it feels as if you have brought John into the character, or vice versa slightly.
But we do bring, you know, visually, of course, like we design the characters before, we create the characters before even the voices is recorded, so we record the voices afterwards. But then, as an animator, hear the sounds of John's voice and then the delivery of the acting and all that, they get inspired by whatever John gives us, and that is the inspiration for them to animate. So after a while, you start to see the two characters kind of like merge, you know, and then sometimes I see a lot of John when I look at the character now. You know, even though that was not in, you know.
Well, that's kind of what I was hinting at, and I don't want to kind of suggest for a moment you look like a bull, but no.
Well, he is Ferdinand, you know, like, but that's the thing, when I saw John walking in the first day of the session, I was like, and he came in, like, I was like, wow, you are Ferdinand, like, just like, massive, you know, look huge on the outside, but, you know, super gentle. Nice guy, nice guy. I was scared, I was like, ah.
And obviously, when you're making an animated film, you are creating everything from scratch, pretty much. In terms of, even if you're basing on a Spanish landscape or the architecture, actually, it's a blank piece of paper, isn't it? So you have to go in and create the textures and the colours. And so, what kind of research did you have to do for that?
Well, quite a bit. You know, we just have to. Every little thing that you see there is created in a computer, and you know, every little pebble in the ground, every little, you know, like doorknob or things that you think that, oh, that's, you know, we take for granted in real life. You know, we have to build every single thing. So there's thousands and thousands of elements that create the set. You know, and for that, like going to Spain and being able to look at how it looks, you know, how it feels. Being able to take snapshots of, like, you know, details of things, that helps us create this story. Of course, you don't notice that because the movie keeps playing and you engage with the characters, but if you pause in a frame, there's so much detail, so much research done behind it, that everything matters. Every little thing matters.
And at one point, the holy grail in kind of CG animation was absolutely fur, excuse me, fur, hair, and obviously sort of skin pigmentation.
Right.
Now it's that kind of, I guess you're trying to achieve kind of photorealism, but matched with sort of caricature in a way. But you delivered that. I mean, technically the film is delivering, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this is the actually. We have the capability of making things look real. Like we can actually model this table and this glass and this water and be perfect, and nobody would tell that if it's real or not. We have the technology. But I think because we're making a movie, and you want to take you to a different place, you wanted to engage in a character that animals that talk. We take a creative liberty of taking a style that is a little bit more artistic. But we have the tools. So the reason why the movie looks so beautiful, because we have these powerful tools. Just like an artist has a brush and a paint, and it's what we do with it is what matters, and the technology is there to support that creative, transformation, I would say.
And obviously this is a family film, so as the audience is going to see very shortly, it speaks to the audience at different levels, to adults and kids. But was there anything that you felt you couldn't show? Because obviously bullfighting is a fairly contentious subject, and obviously you've done it in a very kind of true but sort of in a way that is appropriate. But was there anything that you felt that you couldn't show, or anything that you kind of struggled with?
Well, it's a theme that is that it could be controversial, but I think the story is not about that. The story is about the character's journey. A character that's misunderstood, that is trying to be seen for who he really is. And I think that's the focus we had. And even like as we work together, like we never ever talk about bullfighting. It's just more like that's the setting, but we just talk about the character's journey. And I think that as you see, of course, there's the bullfight element, but the way that you will see it, and then you'll tell me later, is that like we handle it with a way that is very artistic and very much from the perspective of the bull. So it's very much kind of like you understand what it is, but we only go. I cannot talk about it. You guys have to watch it.
and
I'll give it away.
Were you familiar with the story before you took on the role?
Familiar with it, but I only read the book after I did the movie, only because I didn't want to get some preconceived notions about what I was making and confuse myself with the universe and have a moment where I would say, "Oh, Ferdinand would never do that." The book is so very famous, and I think it's touched generation after generation for its larger-than-life and timeless message. It's relevant in 1930, and it's certainly relevant today.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed when I was looking at the credits is that there are a few Saldanhas in the voice cast, including yourself. Can you just tell us about, so is that your kids who voiced it?
Yeah, my kids, my daughter, she is the little girl in the beginning of the movie, Nina. And my boy, he's an ice cream kid. He does a but you gotta give him a credit, because otherwise I will be banned from my home. So I have family responsibilities. I have a parenting responsibility to have and I'm just like, because like when you make this movie, of course, like even before record, like the actors, we do temp voices. We record ourselves and just to see how the movie plays, just as almost as a rehearsal kind of thing. And sometimes there are sounds that we do that we like it, and we think, oh, well, maybe you don't need to hire a big star to do it, like we can do ourselves. So that's why my name is in there, because I'm the little matador you'll see that that runs away from the bulls in the dream sequence. So I always making silly sounds. So no acting involved.
We've got a couple of minutes in case anybody wants to ask a question. I know you haven't seen the film yet, which makes it quite difficult, but is there anything that you would like to ask either John or Carlos?
There's one little girl right there.
Okay, we've got a microphone coming down to you now. If you want to say what your name is and tell us your question.
My name's Abigail, and I'm from First Alchemy Brownies. And my question is, why did you become an actor?
Why did you become an actor, John?
Ooh,
It's your second career, isn't
If you've
it?
seen any of my stuff, I don't know if you can call me an actor. So, no, I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Because I love imagination and I love telling stories. And when you get a group of people like this together that enjoy seeing stories, it's great to be a part of telling those stories. Because people get sad and happy and excited, and to be able to do that for work, it's pretty special.
Great. There's a question, David, your hand up. Can you keep your hand up just so I can get the Oscar cut with the microphone? Towards the back, there's a little girl with little Oscar. Can you put your hand back up again?
Yep,
there we go. There we go. Okay, we've got.
What part do you play in?
Oh yeah, so tell us about Ferdinand. What kind of character is Ferdinand?
Ferdinand is enormous. He's a big bull, the largest in the land, but he just has a different attitude than the other bulls, and that's something I can certainly relate to. I was very different as a young kid, and I got picked on a lot, and a lot of folks always told me that I should be something else, which made me be who I was, even louder and prouder. So I relate very closely to the story of Ferdinand, and that's the part that I play.
Very good. We've got time for maybe just a couple more. Another moving along here.
Good question.
And then we'll go over to that side to try and get across. So.
Oh, there's the one.
Okay. Have we got the other microphone?
There's the one.
Yeah, so we've got one in the middle just there, and then we'll go to that side.
Was it easy to act as Ferdinand?
That's a good question.
Well, it kind of was, because I really live a life close to Ferdinand, where I'm really big and people always think that I want to fight. But there are some times where I don't want to fight. Sometimes I just want to smell the flowers.
Okay, very good answer. And
There you go.
I've got another one over there, okay.
What's your favourite part in the film?
Ooh, let's
Okay.
both of you on this one.
I'll let the creator go.
Well, I'll do one and then you do another one. Wow, that's a lot of great parts. I don't want to give it away.
And no spoilers.
No spoilers. You know, I love the ending, but you'll understand when you get there. You know, hopefully, but I cannot tell what happens. But there's a really fun sequence. You know, there's a little dance sequence that I think that people will like it quite a bit. So,
What about you, John?
I know I am Ferdinand, but my favorite character is Lupe. So when they introduce the common goat, Lupe, that is my favorite scene in the movie.
And is there really such a thing as a calming goat? Is that a real
yes.
thing?
Well, it's you know, usually where you have like running horses, or they usually have somebody just to calm them, just to be there with them. It's a companion.
Right.
It's like when people fly with little puppies. It's the same thing with animals. You know, that they have a companion animal next to them. So it's really true.
Yeah, we should get somebody on this side if we can as well.
How long did it take to make the whole film?
Well, it's a long time. Probably before you were born, I started making Ferdinand. This project in terms of production 4 years, but I started in 2010 and 11, around there. That's how I started like to develop the story. So probably 90% of the crowd here wouldn't be born by back then.
Okay, we've got one final question over there as well. There's a little boy. Oh, he's changed his mind. Do we get one final question, anybody?
Oh, there's a boy over here.
Yeah, actually, should we go around the front here? Oh, okay, we did two. We did that one back, and we did this one. Sorry.
Oh, you come right
I
up.
hate disappointing people. It'll be another 100 questions, right?
I know.
Well done.
On a
What's your
scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with the movie?
Well,
Choose your score wisely.
at this stage, I'm a 10.
Okay, and then the final question, we've got the third row back here. We've got little boy's been very patient. Here we go. Thank you. What's your name?
Jaden.
Hello there. And what's your question?
Why did John Cena become a wrestler?
Well, I certainly like athletics, and I also have a really big imagination. So I love performing in front of crowds. So when you mix the two, you get WWE, and that's what I call my home.
Very good. Okay, well, it is now time for us to watch the film. I say you are seeing this before anybody else, so no, it's great. It's about to start opening around the world shortly over the next week or two, and it's opening here in a couple of weeks' time. So tell all your friends about it, and a big, huge thank you to John.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.